Hello everyone, Dan 14th Prime here. Want to do a video share out today with the Star Wars Hot Toys DX-17. This is the Phantom Menace Darth Maul, the deluxe version with the Sith speeder, which you see him there in front of you, cruising for chicks. I've been dreading this video. This figure is just packed out. It's DX as it is, so tons of accessories and goodies with this guy. And then I went ahead and got the speeder version on top of that. You've got to see the box and the packaging on this thing. Check out my Instagram, same handle, Dan14th Prime. Huge box, beautiful, really impressive. Be sure to check that out. If you're interested in picking up the DX16 without the speeder or DX17 that you see here in front of you, check the link down in the description below. As of the time of this video, they're both available out there on Sideshow. And any shopping you do through those links supports the channel at no cost to you and is very much appreciated. Like I said, I've been putting this review off. This is one of those videos that can get out of hand. There's just so much stuff involved. But I'm going to try to take you through it in good order, give you a good look at everything, but try to keep this video a bit pithy as well. So let's get into it. So the Sith speeder here, I think super cool. Again, I've mentioned in other videos, I love kind of when Hot Toys gives us these kind of diorama, accessories, vehicles, things that we don't get very often. So I had to pick this up. It's like a $120 upcharge versus the base figure, but well worth it. And I see them going loose on eBay for at least $180, sometimes even more, up to $240. So if you're wondering to get it or not, I would say pick it up, get it. If you change your mind later and want to get rid of it, you're not going to lose any money. But just awesome detailing, weather through this thing, kind of the whole seats all worn and weathered out. Looks like a worn leather seat. Great paint apps. If you're wondering how to get to the battery compartment, there's a little tab here where you can put your finger. You can pop that out, on-off switch, battery cover. I'll just keep that off for a second because I want to show you, of course, the light up effect. This thing just sits on a clear pole. You can plug in here, can plug in here. So you can set it back, you can kind of center it a bit more. And there's this one hole in the bottom of the speeder. So back end view here, I mean, pretty modest light up effects. You get some green lights there. Show you if we turn those off. That's what it's gonna look like on display most of the time. And you know, that's the light up feature. And we keep giving this a spin around. On the other side, what to say, you know, just equally nicely done. This thing can kind of wobble in here sometimes. It's a bit odd, sort of this cheap clear plastic stand. You think they would have kind of fit that a bit better than what they've done. But it just looks really beautiful, I think. I've had him on display in this speeder. I think I'm going to keep him out in that way as well. Front on view there. And again, I just want to get you a, sort of a cockpit view right here. Light up feature again. I'll turn it off so you can see, you know, just fades a bit dimly, lights back up a bit brightly. Beautiful grips, the chrome, the grip effect, even on the feet there, all grooved out. And then here, just to get you a shot of this seat. Looks so cool. And they do have the handlebars. They can articulate up and down, so you can get them up pretty high, kind of like ape hangers. Get them down a bit lower. So if that's your Sith speeder, 2 AAA batteries in there, if I didn't mention. Again, pops right off like that. Hole down there. Check out the underside of that if you like. Even some detailing through there. And again, just pretty cheap clear plastic pull, which will plug in here in the base or back here. You get the sand cover, which you can place over that thing. Maybe it'll even stick if you'd like. And then you get this for the base. Just for the figure, of course, looks like the scene where he's fighting Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon. And to go with that, long dynamic flight stand and clasp, so you can do all kinds of crazy poses with Maul and, again, either of those 2 ports. So even without the speeder, really nice base setup to put this figure on display. Next up here, cool little accessory. You saw at the top of the video. This is his probe droid. Now this thing just looks really cool. Great paint. Get all the little silver accents there across the side. All this mechanical detail. Get some weathering and wear there around the edges and ridges. These little wires effect there. I guess what would be the cameras or the eyes of this thing coming off the side. As well as clear paint accent there for the center eye. Get an antenna that you put in there. It fits a little loose. It's kind of got a groove like it should peg in a certain way, but I have a hard time getting mine to stay flush in there. And it just sits on a little plastic pole. Hot Toys always does this stuff pretty cheap. Clear translucent pole, little plastic base. He also comes with this little hologram. It's probably like 3 inches tall. It's a hologram of himself. You could use this with your Emperor Palpatine for them to do a little conversation via the hologram communication. It's cool. I think it's the Sideshow exclusive. But if you didn't get it and you really wanted on eBay, they're going for like $30. And just to point out there, it is hollow all the way through. You could probably do something cool, like maybe light it from within or something. That might be a pretty cool effect. Okay, so now we can start to look at the figure, just to start to get into all the extras that more closely relate and can be used on the figure. Let's start off with the robe here. Excuse the not perfect pose and maybe not laying the robe exactly perfectly, but just want to give you an overview of it. It's pleated front and back. It's got a snap there, like at the chest. Got these long flowing arms where the arm is kind of cut and his arm can poke right out of there about anywhere, really high up. It's got a big hood that's stitched really well down in the back, and it's got some posable wires in it. So let's just stop them here. And again, this hood, a lot of posability through here. You know, probably something similar to the Emperor. The hook clasp is right here. You can open that up. You can see all the pleating all the way through and around. Really tight, nice pleating. These sleeves I mentioned here, just to show you. I had never really noticed this, but you know, his arm can poke out right there, and it's all just cut with a long flowing piece, draping piece. That's pretty cool. And unfortunately, it does give that warning of like not keeping the robe on the head too long, or it might cause color transfer. I hate that. I don't know if that's really true or would happen often, but it always scares me because certainly I'd like him on a speeder with the robe and the hood up like this. But you got to be careful, I guess, with extended periods of time having that hood on the head. Okay, so let's go a layer down here. We've got the robe off, down to basically how the figure comes out of the box with just his tunic and layers on like this. He's got, plastic, which are, rubber looking, but plastic, gauntlets and gloves, and the boots as well. The belt going across the middle there is sort of, leather-like, let's say. And then otherwise, it's just soft goods all the way through the tunic. So let's let this guy spin around. Everything fits really well. And again, we'll get into articulation, but moves really well. The body feels really good. So I'll show you some of that articulation, but really nice folding of this soft goods all the way through the uniform. And just stop them here. Again, you've got nice pleating all the way kind of up through here, through the chest, with this tunic coming over the top, underneath this belt, some nice accents up on that belt. And then you just have kind of layer, and there's wire in here to pose this. Layer there, 2 smaller pieces there. Again, 2 pieces on the outside, and then 2 longer pieces underneath before you get to his pants. Now on the back, you just kind of have 2 layers there like that. And again, definitely some wires and some of these things, even on the back there. So you can pose this around, look at that, to get those crazy aerial effect looks of what his robe should be doing. So let's just dive in a bit closer here and definitely check out this head sculpt. I think it's phenomenal. I think the shape, the expression, the eyes, the paint, it's all fantastically done. Again, this is DX, so we get 2 heads. We'll take a look at the other in a second. But just give you kind of the overview of this there from the profile. These horns look so cool too. Just really fine detail in all the horns. Get a little bit of the top of the head there. This profile there, he's got a little earring or something there. I'd never noticed that before. Little silver stud. And this is all on a magnet again, because you want fantastic articulation and posability. So that's what this lets you do. And it's got some technology, DX does. And I wish they would bring this to the main line. Just in terms of innovating, you'd think you take your premium stuff and you eventually bring it to the main line and put new innovation into your premium stuff. But they haven't done it yet. But it's got the movable eyes, which you can probably barely see in there. But you grab this tool-looking thing. It's got this little peg thing. You can go inside on these little white areas and move the eye. Just totally knock that eye like droopy down into the corner. So not easy to do accurately behind the camera. There, trying to move that up a bit. Move it across a bit. So you get the idea. So you can pose the eyes. So there, if I can pick that up on camera, got these really beady orange eyes, which look really cool. You can see I've got him looking a bit to his left. Let's check out the other head sculpt with this guy, the big scowling face, the battle yell. This is really cool looking. Just look at the mouth and the teeth and everything in there. Fantastically painted. Excellent sculpting. And I'll just give you a bit of the profile of that there. And the other side here as well. Yeah, that head sculpt is super cool. So just to kind of recap those two side by side, it's fantastic. And this head sculpt as well has that same technology to pose the eyes. Let me just give you a quick pan from the front here so you can kind of take it all in one shot. Get all the nice pleating up top on the tunic. Big, thick, nice leather-like belt. Again, plastic, leather-looking gauntlets. And all the flare down the tunic below, just all kinds of posable wires down in there. And down into the boot. And let me just come down and show you these. I don't think I did. Kind of double down arrow accent there. Kind of like he's got a shin guard on, strapped on. And toe shield as well. Kind of across the front of that is the style it gives. Some nice accents there around the back as well. The boots are pretty cool looking as well. Let's not forget Hot Toys there on the bottom of the shoe. Always doing some work there too. Okay, let's get into the accessories that come with Darth Maul. I have up first the binoculars, and these things do look amazing. So well detailed. Check that out. You know, they're metal. Got some black handles there on the side. You know, grip. Just a great wear paint effect. Little accent colors. I think the metal color is great. Little screw details in there. That would be the outward looking lens side. And then the eye holes there. This thing is really, really cool looking. And when you want to go for that look, that iconic scene, it also comes with this kind of left leather glove piece with this metallic accent over the top. And all you're doing is, of course, just taking off the hand, sliding off the whatever leather gauntlet piece, and then you put this one just right over the top and the hand back on. So not perfect here, and I don't have the robe on, but you can see how you can get those up to the eyes. I'm using the hands that come on the figure out of the box, which have a light grip on them. But yeah, get that robe back on him. It'll look just like in the movie. Let me show you the hands. You get 10 hands on this figure. You get one right hand like this. When you look at the instructions, it looks like you should get a pair of these to hold the binoculars. The grip's a bit loose, so potentially a misprint there. But just one right hand of this kind of much wider grip than what comes on the figure's stock. Shockingly here, not a pair of fists, just one left closed fist. You get a pair of these. These would be for holding the lightsaber, of course. Got a light grip in there. Could also probably work on holding the handles of the Sith speeder if you wanted a bit of a tighter grip. You get a pair of these just kind of fully relaxed. Index finger coming in a bit. Just, a little bit of a light gesturing hand. And then last up here, a pair of these. Again, gesturing, more like force push type hands. Just spread fingers all the way out. A little bit of cock in the wrist even to help accommodate some of that push gesture. And then this pair, which I mentioned, which I did use for the binoculars and seems to be able to work on the Sith speeder as well, but this is the light grip that comes on the figure out of the box. You get a right arm light up lightsaber for the full double blade staff. This works like we've seen with all of them. You kind of just plug in at the elbow joint there. You put in some batteries and you've got the switch. Demonstrated that 100 times before, so I'm not going to light it up. But if you check out the Lightsaber Hilt, that looks really very well done. Nice silver, all kinds of molding accents in there. You got these red, almost button-looking things on the inside. Now, for the lightsaber look, he does come with another kind of leather gauntlet piece. Plastic, of course, but leather-looking gauntlet piece, especially for these light-up arms. And it just kind of opens up there. It's super tight. But this would be a particular piece that you'll put over like that when you use these light-up lightsaber arms. And I'll just show you here as well while I've got this one out. Of course, we get our lightsaber, swooshing effect. We get two, of course. Since we've got two ends on this blade. And yeah, that's big. Trying to get that all in frame. But we've got the fan effect for movement. So that's one light up lightsaber arm, what it can look like. Because they give you another one, same deal, but just with the single hilt. Kind of like, I guess it would have been cut in half maybe, or maybe when he first fought Qui-Gon. I can't remember if he was using a double blade, but just single here. Basically the same deal, just of course half of it. And, you know, if you want to put a blade in there, will look like that. And of course, if you had this one on, you'd use that single leather-like plastic gauntlet to cover the forearm. And as usual, we have here just the regular non-LED version of the hilt. And yeah, I mean, this thing looks so good. In addition to, you know, swooping blades, of course, we would get just straight regular blades. Plug those into each side. This end on mine is super tight. We'll try this side. But yeah, just to give you some sense of how big this thing gets when you get both the blades on. I mean, this thing is going up to there. Talking about probably 16 inches long with the double blade. I'll just show you a few views here. Not great poses, just holding the lightsaber. As you can see, that thing definitely has a presence and can definitely take up a lot of space depending on how you've got it positioned. But getting back to the hilt, of course it's going to split in half for us. Again, so we can just get that single-sided look. Exactly the same as the light-up arm. So it splits in two. This has got the plug end, so it goes to the side. And we get this little back-end plug piece here. The bottom of that, probably hard to see, but maybe it looks like it was kind of cut. And that'll fit a certain way. You can finish off that end. And then just have the single-ended lightsaber as well. For attaching the lightsaber hilt to the belt, we get these tiny little peg pieces. And the hilt just has one hole up there. So it's always going to be the long lightsaber, of course. You can plug that in like that. And here on the side of the belt, he's got a little hook area there. And that will just sit on there, just like that. So that is a pretty big lightsaber to be carrying around. Not as nice and convenient to store off the hip on display like other Star Wars figures. I'll just call out there's two types of pegs. Again, this one you sort of see it's got like a groove, like two ridges, create a groove in the center. You also get this one, which just gives you more of like the mushroom peg on the end. And I just want to see which one I like better. I probably like the mushroom peg. It's a bit more flush, so on this one it seems it sits a bit more flush and tighter, frankly. The other one's a bit longer, maybe gives you just a little bit of smidge extra room away from the body. A few quick points on articulation. I think I already showed you the head is on a magnet, so I'm just going to take it off while I do actually do the articulation so it doesn't drop. In here in the shoulder, I think there's definitely really like a complicated, whole butterfly joint system in there. So you can get, even when I want to raise the arm, it wants to kind of come forward more than just raise. So that's my nit, really. It's just sort of like sometimes getting those things to work the way you want can take a little extra fidgeting, but it's in there. But sometimes it's getting everything to line up already now. It's like, okay, how do I get his arm just flat back down? Get all these pieces to move the right way. So that's probably a little bit of just a annoying thing with the articulation on here. It's good, but some of these joints need to move a particular way to make the most of it and also not break the figure. So just be careful of that. The elbow joint here is everything you need. Basically comes up and touches the shoulder. Typical stuff on the hand wrist. We'll say there's some limitation through the chest and torso because of this big belt. I mean, you maybe get like a smidge of crunch over and, rock back. You can probably angle to the side a bit like that. So some of that's all there. Say the waist isn't outstanding, but you can get something there. But it's probably maybe 45 degrees each way type thing, unless you really, really pushed it. Down into the legs, again, pretty good because the tunic's all under there. He's got pants. So that's pretty good. Got a swivel up there at the hip. His leg will kick out pretty good. I'd say straight out. And it will kick back. Let's see here. Not quite as far, actually. Pretty limited going back. Runs into some sort of joint up here. The knee. It's got a nice light ratchet in the knee. It's double jointed, so you can get everything on the knee. And then a bit of limitation is actually the boot. I wish they would have probably put like a toe bend in there. He would have benefited from that. And the ankle rock's in there. And the way they build the boot, kind of a front and bottom and the back section, it helps to get it, but you still don't get everything you might on some other figures. But probably could have improved that a little bit. So there you have it, guys. The DX-17 Deluxe Darth Maul with the Sith Speeder. I think overall an awesome figure, an awesome pack out, just stacked. Again, links down in the description below, my Instagram, my links out to Sideshow, Amazon, etc. As always, any shopping you do through those links supports the channel at no cost to you, and I very much appreciate that. And yeah, really the only thing that annoyed me with this figure is these leather sleeves on the wrist, which I've come to just take off at this point because they were making the hand such a pain in the butt. Personally, I'm definitely glad I went with the speeder version. I think vehicles are just such a great part of the Star Wars lore, so I'll take it whenever I can get one. And yeah, I think this will look really, really cool on display. Alright guys, thanks for checking out this Hot Toys video. I'll see you next time.